Alright, so there is something quite big going on in the space right now. If you have been paying attention, you're going to notice that Bitcoin's dominance has continuously been dropping since the market has bottomed, just at least temporarily, if not for a long time. And altcoins have on the whole been doing very, very well against Bitcoin, right? I mean, just this right here summarizes it. Bitcoin in the last 24 hours up by 1.5%, but Ethereum lapping Bitcoin multiple times up by 4 or 5%, Solana and so on. There's a lot of picks here. And the reason I want to bring this up to you guys is because, obviously when we're in a downtrend, we've gone down quite a bit. If we start seeing markets, quite quickly reversing higher, that doesn't necessarily mean that the market is indeed going to just recover and start rallying again and it's sunshine and roses again. It usually means that it's going to, we're going to be looking at something a little bit like this, where perhaps we established support in the past, and when we start rising up, this might be where we capture a bit of resistance and then start falling back down. And that's what I want to warn you guys about and just explore in this video, because if we take a look at the altcoin market now, a lot of these coins are approaching or are at resistance right now. This is something I've been waiting for. You guys know the deal. I sold pretty much all of my Ethereum way back when Ethereum was at $3,500, and I'm interested in buying it back when it's cheaper against Bitcoin. So obviously it's dropped quite a bit against Bitcoin here, but look at this. It's now rallied back up basically to the range lows that we established in the middle of last year. This is a very, very significant chart, and the reason I'm showing you Ethereum first is because it's probably the most popular altcoin. Well, it definitely is, isn't it? And so it's quite representative of the rest of the market, but I do want to zoom in and look closer at some of the other coins in just a bit as well. But take a look at this box right here. Let me just make this a little bit more visible so we can that's completely the wrong thing right here. Just want to make this a little bit more visible so we can understand what's going on. See, these were the lows that Ethereum hit against Bitcoin, when it initially rocketed up, and now we are potentially ready to find a bit of resistance. This is the thing, is that just typically you would expect that resistance here would end up sending the market lower, but I'm not so sure about that because see, while all of these altcoins have been doing actually kind of fairly well, overall. I mean, the 7-day chart, I think the 7-day percentage change illustrates this much better. Bitcoin up by 10.2%, and then Ethereum up by 21%, Binance Coin up by 16, XRP up by 20, Doge up by 25, Solana up by 40. These coins have been performing really, really well, but if we take a look at what Bitcoin's been doing, nothing really. It ended up setting a high on the 21st of June, which was 4 days ago, and we still haven't actually managed to breach that high. So this is the thing, is that I think if altcoins are able to rally this hard, Bitcoin should be able to continue rising just a little bit. One of the things that's concerning me is that this is now seeming to be a bit of a popular opinion. It seems like a lot of people in the space are talking about big reaction rallies. You guys know the deal for me. I'm still just looking at my 2 key resistance areas, which are going to be, roughly this kind of $22,000 area. And then if we manage to pass that, I'm going to be looking at this $28,000 area. And I think, I know this is a big range, but, there's just not a lot of resistance between these 2 yellow circles. And so I would expect the market to just zip through it very, very quickly if we manage to pass the first one at about 22. It does actually stretch up to 24, but I don't know how useful that's going to be right here in this market, just purely because we've been finding so much resistance in this range. So honestly, I think if we're able to just swing above this high right here, that could be enough to send the market flying at least a couple $1,000s higher potentially. And that would probably, make the altcoin market suffer just a little bit. One of the things that I'm looking at actually is that if we look at these lows up to the highs, Ethereum against Bitcoin here up by 20%. To me, that's just not such a huge rally. Obviously, other coins have been performing way better than this. If we take a look at Solana against Bitcoin, it's not even close. I mean, from these lows that we had, it's it's rallied by something huge, something ridiculous. Yeah, this is plus 80%. So if you had bought a bunch of Solana using your Bitcoin down here, you would now have 80% more Bitcoin up here, and that's that's no fucking joke. That's a big deal, especially in bear markets like this, because like I said, if you are expecting that the market is only going to be rising in order to potentially capture a bit more resistance and then potentially continue the downtrend, well then and take a look at this range is this is a very big resistance range. I don't actually like the way it's been drawn, because this is a 45% range more or less, way too big to be calling it resistance, but it's the best I've got on this chart, because this is very messy price action. There's a bit of a deviation here. If it were up to me, and it is up to me funnily enough, I'd probably just draw the box a little bit more like this. I don't like having such big boxes, because I mean you're really you're just not going to be very technically accurate, really, is the main problem. If we are just going to be running up to capture a bit of resistance, then I mean, these things are very useful, because you can just accumulate Bitcoin on these rips up. And yes, while the whole market might continue dropping down, as long as your Bitcoin stack is going up, if you believe that Bitcoin will eventually recover, these things can actually be very big opportunities for you in the market. And you guys know the deal, by the way. The only place I'm trading all of this is right here on Bybit. You're getting $4,100 free of charge by signing up to Bybit using my link in the description down below. So if you like free money, if you want to get paid for doing basically nothing, literally just signing up to Bybit, which is my favorite exchange, and I've been working with them for years, then check them out using the link in the description down below. And like I said, I mean, $4,100 is no joke. The steps to get it are also in the description right by that link. And as you're going down there, do make sure to hit up those likes and just double check that you are subscribed as well. This stuff all very important, though. I do like seeing these rallies. I mean, we need something like this to happen. Where I'm going to start looking at, potentially the market is ready to top out, is when I start seeing some, a bit of delusion, a bit of, is Solana back? Is Ethereum back? This kind of sentiment. And, I'm not completely, I think that sentiment can creep in pretty quickly right here in a market like this, just because if you do look at where our resistance levels are, I mean, we've got this $1,200 range right here that Ethereum's just beat against the dollar. I mean, it can rise by quite a bit, until its next real big areas of resistance, and that obviously could definitely excite a lot of people. It could happen over these next weeks. It could even take months. I mean, it could take quite a bit of time. But from what I'm seeing right here, just in terms of where these resistance levels are, the fact that Bitcoin hasn't popped yet, to me that means there could be some more legs in this altcoin market. That's all quite exciting. Now the issue is, if you're not already in one of these positions, there's no good entry levels to be picking right now. I mean, any good analyst has been saying this, and if you haven't heard what I've just said by now, you really should reconsider who you're getting information from, because at the end of the day, there isn't a trade to make every single day. Sometimes the best thing you can do is just wait, and this is one of those situations right now, because we are like right in the middle of a bunch of ranges. Now obviously some of these coins have already reached resistance levels, right? You guys know I was looking at things like Binance coin against Bitcoin. This has literally just topped out at my long-term resistance line right here, but Binance coin historically has actually performed pretty well in bear cycles. So will that continue? Potentially. It seems fairly probable. I've still got a lot of thoughts about this chart. There's a lot that I want to do with Binance coin, and VIPs are continuously updated on what that looks like. So if you do want to jump inside of 𝗬𝗪𝗡's VIP and take advantage of the discount we've been running, then now's your chance. But we are going to be ending that discount very soon, so definitely take advantage of it. If you've been sitting on the fence, I just want to remind you guys that yearly members get phone calls with me as well whenever you'd like as well. So that has been very useful for our members who've taken up our yearly package. And if you want to be able to get inside, really see what's going on, then click on the first link in the description down below. Click on the @4flies button, and then click on send message to ask me how to join 𝗬𝗪𝗡's VIP, and I will send you all that information. And if I don't, a member of my team will as well. So that's the Bitcoin chart for Binance coin. If we look at Binance coin on against the dollar as well, you're going to start to see that there is a little bit of a nice little rebound going on right now. It's got quite a way until it hits its next resistance level. Actually, it's not that far. I'd say the next resistance level is at about 260, so we're only about $20 away from that. You know, and so this is kind of the story I'm seeing, right? I mean, like Solana against the dollar. You know, if we take a look at this right here. One sec, let's just use this chart. Where is it? Right here. You know, it's already kind of hit its resistance area. If we look at this chart right here, it already has kind of hit this resistance area, but the resistance area is big. I mean, this can stretch a fair bit further and still be within resistance. It's only if Solana manages to clear this area that I'm going to start looking at this kind of, I want to say like $80 area potentially, but I mean, yeah, either of these two areas, yeah, I'm gonna call it 80 up to about 140. Either of these two resistance areas very much on the cards for Solana if we're able to break this one. And so right now it's just a wait and see really to see how this market actually does respond to these types of things. And you know, if we do start reaching these resistance levels and showing some signs of weakness, that's going to be my signal to actually get out of the market a little bit more, just hedge a little bit more so that I have some cash, a little bit more cash on the side to buy these altcoins or buy Bitcoin, buy Ethereum, you know, if they do end up continuing to rip lower. Now I want to say something a little bit off topic that I actually heard on 𝗪𝗙𝗧𝗜𝗔𝗟's YouTube channel, so go ahead and check him out as well if you haven't heard of him by now. One of the things that he mentioned is that you know, the bottoms that we tend to see in markets are typically characterized by you know, dropping down to a low and recovering that low very quickly. And if you take a look at what happened when we hit our low at 17.5, we actually recovered up within the next 2 hours, and we did come back down, but the market did not give us this same low a second time. That is a very common pattern for Bitcoin when it sets market bottoms, and I would like to show that to you right now on the BLX chart, zooming out and heading to the coronavirus market crash. We had the very same situation here in March 2020. We ended up bottoming out. The market did not give us that bottom for long. It recovered back up. It did come back down, but it didn't give us the same low, and then it rallied back up. The reason that this is quite indicative of market bottoms, and I'll show you another one right here as well in 2019, I'm sorry. Well, actually in both, we fell down over here from 6,000 down to 3,000, very quickly rallied up, and then we did come back down, but again, the market did not give us the same low. Very, very typical pattern for Bitcoin when it's setting a market cycle low. The reason we tend to see this type of thing happening is very simply because it is a real market bottom, and so buyers are very, very quickly stepping in, and buyers just don't want to miss that chance to buy Bitcoin at what they believe to be a very cheap level. And obviously, by the way, the catch here is that this happens at every market low, even if the market keeps going lower. You know, here's an example of how this could have looked right here. I mean, you know, if the market didn't continue dipping, what we very well could have done is continued rallying higher, fell down to a low right here, bam, that's our higher low, and then we're off into the sunset on our romantic cruises. You know, obviously that didn't end up happening. So, you know, this could very much be the case again right now. It would not be the first time. You know, here's another example how the market could have set a low, you know, potentially just come down close, but not quite to the same low. Bam, that's our higher low. And then we rally off into the stars. Again, didn't happen. We ended up collapsing much, much lower. So, you know, it's only a low until it's not. And that's something that I do want to put on your radar. Now, what 𝗪𝗙𝗧𝗜 said about this being a potential low, I like the idea. You know, we're still quite close to it, so obviously, you know, anything can go wrong. The main thing that I'm watching for with this chart right now, again, one of the other things that would make me very, very bearish is if we do start losing this 20K level now. You know, guys, the thing is that since we broke above this 20K level, we have kind of fluctuated above and below it a little bit, but for the most part, it has now been 5 days above that $20,000 level, right? And so to me, if we do end up slipping back below this level after 5 days of consolidation above support, that's going to mean that we just weren't strong enough, in my opinion, to hold the $20,000 level. And if we're not strong enough to hold the $20,000 level, I have no good reason to believe that we're going to hold the 17.5K level, or that we're not going to drop down down there. This is just, if we look at this on the weekly time frame, again, I don't like being the bearer of bad news or anything, but fuck, I mean, this is just what I'm seeing on the chart, ladies and gents. I can't sugarcoat these things. You guys know the deal with me. I'm not trying to just tell you what you want to hear so I get all the clicks and the likes and the YouTube money. That stuff is cool, but this realistic TA is a lot more exciting in my opinion. And the thing is, if we do look at this on the weekly time frame, there's no support until this $14,000 levels, right? So if we've now kind of consolidated above our low, above 20k, and we lose that anyway, it's basically like doing what is one of the best possible things we could have done, and it still goes wrong. And in that case, well, shit, I mean, we used our best bullets, we used our best rifles to try and win this war, and we just couldn't, and that to me would be a big indication that we dropped down. And obviously 14k in and of itself, not really the best support level, because I mean, it just doesn't really have much price action anyway. I mean, it is a bit of a stretch. 14k, if anything, I think would be more of a psychological support area. I don't want to be talking about that too much just yet, though, because I think we are still in recovery mode. Fear and greed index still abysmally low. Let's take a look at this, waiting for this to update right here. We had readings of 11, and so on. We are now pushing up a little bit higher as people are getting a little bit less worried about this market. We had lows at 6, and we've been slowly pushing higher now at a reading of 14. And I believe this is just going to keep getting better if the market holds where it is or it continues to rise higher. So that is something to keep an eye on. Personally, I think it's actually much more likely that we end up breaking this high and then potentially doing something quite exciting. But of course, as a trader, as an analyst, and somebody whose job really is just to balance out probabilities and then make calculated decisions based off that, it is still one of my essential duties to be prepared for a worst case scenario if we do start losing support. So that level for me is going to be basically 20, 20.1, 20.3. These rough kind of $100 intervals are where I'm seeing the kind of final frontier of support for Bitcoin. And if we do end up losing them, I think we're definitely going to be sweeping this low, or at least coming back down to this low. Maybe we catch a double bottom, but I mean, that's a stretch, really. I'm not so optimistic about that. More so what I think we're likely to do. I mean, just look at this price action if we zoom in, guys. I mean, the market is just really keen on pushing higher. It is slow. It's very, very slow, but we did get that bullish back test. We even actually slipped below 20k just a little bit. There's been a nice little ascension higher, so what would be beautiful is perhaps a little bit of a pullback, fall down to 20.8, capture some support there, and then continue to push higher. Any of those things potentially starting to happen here, and I think that these little bits of price action could have some pretty fun effects on the altcoin market. Just wave them about, create some rocky waters for a little bit, and the most interesting thing for me is going to be seeing how this altcoin market responds to reaching some of these resistance levels, right? So obviously we've broken some of them as well. We are now looking at the next ones. Ethereum, I'm looking at 1400 and so on. So as we start approaching those resistance levels, this next batch of resistance, really, that's going to be where I am going to be very, very keenly watching the market, just to see what it ends up doing, really. If it's ready to keep pushing higher, or if it's a good time to look for a few defensive plays, maybe even something a little bit more aggressive, like going short, because you guys know that I love trading these markets actively when we're in bear cycles. So that's what I'm looking at right here, and obviously I'll be trading it all on Bybit. There is a little ant just walking around on this table right here, and he seems to be very interested in not quite sure, actually, apparently me. But yeah, if you do want to sign up to Bybit and get your $4,100, then check it out using the link in the description down below. And if you want to be able to watch me trading in real time and all that good stuff that goes on inside of VIP as well, there's a lot more going on beyond just that. Then follow these steps on screen. And like I said, there is that discount running, one of the biggest discounts we've ever ran, but we are going to be closing it off very, very soon. So definitely take advantage of that now. If you've been curious, once more, just want to remind you that our yearly members are even getting phone calls with me. So, and that, by the way, I'm pretty sure the yearly price is basically at the lowest level it's ever been. I might be wrong about that, but it's very, very low compared to, where we used to be charging for VIP. And that's just because of the Bitcoin price. But we are going to be implementing, we might have already done so. I'm not really involved in how the business runs anymore. But we are probably going to be, we're still going to be doing it as a Bitcoin business, obviously. But we're probably going to hold the value of VIP, pegged against the dollar or pegged against something else. Because otherwise it wouldn't be a very good business if the Bitcoin price drops and our revenue drops in scale with that. So that is going to be happening very, very soon. That literally means you're not going to continue to get these prices. So take advantage of it while you can. It's not going to be here for much longer. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, you know exactly what to do. Hit up the likes, subscribe, tick the bell, do all of that good stuff. Lots more great content coming out for you guys. And I will continue to be keeping VIPs very closely updated on how I plan on trading this market. See you all in the next one. Bye-bye.